Hello and welcome to From Change to Change. And we have with us in the studio today none other than Dr. Dolores Cormier Zenon, who is a national board certified teacher. She also has, is it Dizzy?
DZ.
DZ, Educational Enterprise Wisdom Inspired Scholar Education Foundation, and my favorite, the Wise Owl Scholar Academy. So today we have this sister with us. How you doing today?
Girl, I'm just glad to be here. Tell me, this conversation is going to be on the real, on point. I'm ready.
Definitely.
I've been ready to do some talking. So let's get it.
And hey, I left out the fact that she is also a vote member. Whoop, whoop.
And if you're not one, go become one.
Yes, she is a vote member right here in Lafayette, and was out canvassing, door knocking in the communities before election. Here's one of them, live and in living color. So how did that feel?
Well, that felt great. Because when you think about just the opportunity to be out there amongst people, having a conversation, listening to the real talk of what's really going on. My mom likes to say, touching that flesh. Like hearing the real deal. A lot of times you hear that mass stuff, like this is not real, this is this. No jargon, just the real stuff.
Right.
So it was exciting to be able to hear what people really want, how people really think. No barriers.
And just to put that out there, her mom is canvassing as well.
Yep.
That's
Definitely.
just how loyal and dedicated they are to fixing their community. How old is mom?
Mom is 80.
80.
About to be 81, y'all.
Side by side with us canvassing in the
Miss
sun,
Pat.
in the coat, whatever it takes. So,
Oh yeah, she's there. She out there now.
yeah, she's out there right now. That's right.
Yes,
That's right.
yes. And she told me today, she said, "Look, girl, if I didn't like you, I wouldn't be here."
But it's some great time to spend with her, as and sharing that vision and seeing it to come to fruition.
Yes,
I
yes.
just want to acknowledge the fact that, because I come from a black mom, black household, and it was rough. And when she talked about, you have what, 2 brothers? How many brothers?
I have
you
3 brothers.
3 brothers, right? So raising and doing such an excellent job with 3 boys. Now, I mean, she did a good job with you.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
No, but with 3 boys, that was a lot of work, and still pursuing and staying on track with herself. That was a lot of work. So hats off.
And she was president of the NAACP.
Yeah.
She was fighting for those rights even when we were children.
That's who
Teaching
you
us
get
the
it from.
value of the importance of voting.
And she
Teaching
was
us
a
the value.
teacher.
She was a teacher.
Teacher as well.
Even started Pride because she wanted its people rated intelligent, desiring excellence. She started that at Lafayette High many, many years ago because she felt and she saw that the black children, the African American children, were being marginalized. So she started that and just continued it till today. Wrote the Constitution, everything.
Yeah, I
Wow.
kind of wish we had a picture to flash up.
We gotta get Miss
Yeah.
Pat on the
Yeah, we
show.
gotta-
Yeah, we got to get her on the
Miss
show.
Pat on the
Some
show.
history,
Yeah, because she, it's like my own little personal Lafayette historian.
Yes.
Because out canvassing, she really, she knows where everybody lives, the doctors, and so, oh, Dr. So-and-so live here. Oh, so-and-so. Like, how do you know all this? She's like, I grew up here. I've been here all my life, So we definitely got to get Miss Pat
And
Colbert
if she likes
Cormier
if
to
she
come on the
likes
show.
you, she'll slave over that stove for you.
Ooh, that's true. She does.
Ooh,
She
but
does
those lemon pies, babe. I'm just telling
Ooh, the
you.
lemon pie. Let's not even go there. Let's come back to
Yeah.
the show. Because you're taking me to the lemon pie.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that legislative forum that you pulled together. Who all showed up? What type of information did they provide to the citizens of Lafayette. And when can we expect to see some more forums like that?
You know, that's a good question. We decided that a forum was important so that the community, you, could have an opportunity to hear from those persons who you elected into office, not let them go about their way and not tell you what's going on with how their votes, why they're voting what they're voting on. Help us understand these new voting laws. Help us understand what the school board is doing as far as closing these schools.
Yeah.
You know, and they're closing them predominantly on the north side of town.
Side, on the
You know,
north
why is
side.
this happening? And so I will tell you that, you know, Amy Tronha was there, Josh Edmond was there, Timmy Sasson was there, Marcus Bryant was there, Kenneth Boudreau was there,
A.B.
Elroy,
Rubin.
A.B. Rubin was there. You know, they were all present.
They were.
We hope one day in the future that that Attorney Preston Castile will be present as a Bessie District 8 member, because that is the board that a lot of people don't really know about. You know, the
Right.
Board of Elementary and Secondary Education, which that's where the decisions are made about education. That's where the money flows into Louisiana for people to know, or for their children to have provide what they need. Okay, so in short, if your children need resources, that money comes from the state. But in addition to that, and we know that Senator Boudreaux has done a number of things, but he was unable to be with us that evening. But
Right,
he has done so much for our community, including voting no for the Gator Act. And I'll explain a little bit of what that means. The Gator Act is basically, it's where the money follows the child.
Okay.
Okay. So we've all had these issues where, you know, we talk about, well, you know, the money should follow my child. If my child leaves the school, then the money goes with my child. Well, it doesn't always work that way. It should, but it doesn't. Because in October, we all know there's a count that happens, and we count the kids. But they have to be in the seats in the school, so they can be counted. If they're not there, you can't count them.
Okay.
So basically, now this Gator Act allows a parent to decide what school they want their child to go to. Okay, so that money could go there. So if they want them in private school, if they want them in charter school, if they want them in traditional public school, that money will be
and
there.
that money follows the child, like you said.
Right.
Okay.
But my concern is, and it hasn't been clarified, but once you make that choice, if you decide, I'm not feeling this school, they're not being righteous with my child, they're not treating my child fairly, if I move my child, will that money follow my child? Where I move my child?
Because it was delegated for your child.
It was delegated for your child at that particular school. So I'm not sure of how it's going to unfold. It would be wonderful if it would unfold in portions, like little pieces. 1/4, you know, come out, or 3/4 come out, and then another 3/4, you know, to ensure your child is there. So, but that's left to be seen how
Now
it's going to
you
unfold.
said Senator Boudreaux voted no.
He voted no,
Okay.
and I appreciate that he voted no, because we don't have all the facts on how this money will move and best serve the children in our community.
And that's probably why he voted no.
Right.
Because he didn't have
All the information.
all the
Had he
information.
given an
Okay.
explanation for his vote?
You know, I never asked.
We'll
But
have
I
to get
did
him on
notice
the
that he
show.
voted no, and I was actually glad that he did it. It would be nice to have a conversation with him.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah.
So this forum provided an opportunity for citizens in Lafayette to come out and have conversations, maybe ask questions of their representative, be it their city council, their state representative, their school board members. You know, this platform was for the community
Yes.
to be able to come out. I was there, and I did hear each representative provide information on bills or city ordinances or different projects that they all working on individually. So I think that the things that we heard thus far, because a lot of them are newly elected. Maybe city council reps, they're newly elected. So, and some have been there a little while. So we had that opportunity to hear from them, hear what they're doing, hear what their plans are for the near future. And so this forum, this was the first time. So how often will we have this forum? Will it be twice a year? Will it be more than that? Because I know the intention of this forum was really to be able to, number one, hold our reps accountable to their constituents, to the people who elected them into office.
Absolutely.
And to keep the conversations flowing, building those relationships with our state representative, with our city councilmen, to find out what they're doing since they have been elected into office, and to keep the community in the know.
And,
Absolutely,
and
absolutely.
to also remind them that you work for us.
This is true. And at the same time, what can we do to push the needle to make things happen?
Right.
To make things happen.
What can
How
we
can
do?
we help them?
Right.
Right.
So we need them to hear from us because they can't go into the air and try to figure it out.
Right.
So we need to be there to share our voice because our voices are powerful.
Yes.
And when we think about when I go to the polls and I pull that lever for that one vote, my vote is powerful. No matter how many it is, it's one. It's powerful.
Yes.
And it could tip the scales,
It can.
to what it is we truly need and require for our kids.
Right.
It's a power in itself.
And a lot of times, not to defend any elected official, but a lot of times, these elected officials don't always live in our community.
No, they don't.
Right? So they don't always know what we need, when we need it. Take the Hembola situation, for instance. Our reps pass in front of Hembola almost every day, at least weekly. But the way it was camouflaged in the front
You couldn't
to
see.
look good, no one and no one in there actually knew how to make their voice heard, right?
Right.
So until we bring it to them, a lot of these officials really don't even
don't
know
know.
that what we're dealing with.
Right.
So that's another reason why this forum was so
So
important.
yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. Like hats off to City Councilman Elroy Broussard for bringing that issue to the light.
Mr. Timmy
I think it's
Chasson.
and Timmy Chasson. I mean, he was all in it. Like he was there when they were going through the apartments and making inspections with LCG, and he was just like horrified. Like, oh my God, this can't be happening. So hats off to you guys, and thank y'all so much for
Absolutely.
continuing the fight.
Absolutely.
And that's what we need to see. We need to see that the people who represent us show up when we need them, not just showing up when they
need
need our
us.
vote.
Right,
know?
right. And so the purpose of the community town hall, legislative town hall, we plan to have another one. It is our hope, like when there's an election season, that we'll have a candidate forum, and then the other one will be a community legislative. It would be ideal to have two community legislative forums, because one in the spring, one in the fall, just to give you an opportunity
Right.
to think about your questions, think about things, and you don't have to wait so long to
Right.
answer that question.
Right.
It might be something that's happened, like they wanted to build a jail on the north side of town. And we all get together,
Right.
and we all have the conversation, we get all hopped up, and then it fizzles out. So we need to keep pushing and keep it right here on the forehead, where this is important, these are the changes we want to see, and being present.
And we
Never
have to-
be-
yeah,
right,
we
never
gotta
be
more
afraid. That's
strategic,
right.
too.
Right.
We
That's
got to be
right.
more strategic and not be so afraid to, speak up and use
Exactly,
our voices.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Because, the benefits they'll tell you that they're going to take, the benefits that you'll lose, you're going to lose them if you don't say anything. So you might as well speak because you're going to lose them
Yes, yes,
if you don't.
yes, yes, yeah. They get
Because they'll say, oh, they never told me anything.
right, right, and then they get comfortable. They get complacent in those seats, and
Yeah.
so that's a good way to keep them on their p's and q's, and and a lot of times I think the community needs to know about the progress.
They
Yeah.
do.
That it to keep for them to have hope. You know what I mean? Even though it's not working for you as quickly, you need to know that it does work,
Yeah,
or
right.
it will work. You know what I'm saying? So you don't be in such a stressful and stress and anxiety and causing you to be outside yourself.
Right.
And wanting to give up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, how many times you say, oh, I'm just going to quit. No, you could be right there.
Yeah.
So we got to lift each other up.
Most definitely. Now, Wise Owl, you have an event coming up.
Yes.
You have an event coming up. Tell us about that.
Yes, we are. I'm very excited about that event. Like, just so excited about it, because what it does is we have an opportunity to again bring the community together in a way where there was a time, when they used to have families come together and
Right.
we,
Yes.
get
Yes.
together and we
Yes.
spend the holidays together and we drink a little eggnog and
Yes.
maybe a little bit of something else,
Yes.
but you drink a little eggnog and just enjoying each other's company, but
That's
being
it.
safe, right?
Yes.
So the idea behind this, or the goal,
What's the name of your event?
is believe in the magic of the season.
And my wife
like it.
received a reminder because on the way to the vote office, she called me and told me about and asked me what I knew about this event that you were putting on. So the reminder did go out. It was successful.
Good,
So,
good, good.
so, yes,
So really what it is we are looking at changing the mindset, changing that belief that just because we sit in a difficult situation, that's what my life is all about. No. We want to change that. So rather than, I could give kids things all day long,
Yeah.
but rather than just giving you stuff, we want to create an experience,
right.
a memorable experience. So think about it: a child who's experienced trauma, a child who's been abused,
Yeah.
a child whose parents are incarcerated, child who's lost their parents, through death, child with in a single parent home, child who's homeless,
Yeah.
adopted. All those things that they experience that we say, oh, children are resilient. Nah, let them be a child. So we're bringing these kids together in this one space to have exciting fun. And we're also bringing some elderly too to play bingo. Because there's suppression around that time too. So we want y'all to live. We want to bring that wisdom in there.
And
So
enjoy.
and enjoy. So we're
Yeah.
gonna have read alouds. We're gonna have decorating of Christmas trees. For those experiences. The food is gonna be free. Everything's free. And on top of that, we're bringing resources.
So to not to cut you off, but to politicians out there, elected officials that seeing this is what we're expecting from our elected officials, to have mindsets like this, brand new ideas, because what's been working, what's been happening hasn't been working. So we need to bring new ideas, new fellowship, new everything to this age. So this new year, that's what we expecting from the people that we put into office.
And I
Yes.
agree. I
Yes.
agree.
So when is the event and
December
where?
the 10th at Brown Park Center off of Pont de Mouton. It's from 6 to 8. They have to register. Please register. If you're not sure of where to go to find the invitation, drzenon.com. That is my website address. drzenon.com. And you'll be able to find it located there. But make sure you register so we'll have a gift for your child. Parents, please register as well if you want to play bingo. You're welcome. You need to come with your child. Great resources. You'll hear from Confidence Girls. You'll hear from Autism Society. You'll hear from Vote. If you haven't voted, you can hear some information about the importance of your vote. Just some great things. And, like clothing and just everything's free.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So come out and just enjoy.
I had the opportunity to go to her establishment the other day, and I was absolutely flabbergasted. Like this family is beautiful, y'all, and that's why she's here today. I wouldn't have it no other way because we spoke about it, and I definitely needed the world to know that there are genuinely good, beautiful, upright people on this earth. And she's one of them. Her mom is. So reach out to her.
And the cousin. Can't forget the cousin, Judge Roy.
Oh, Judge Colbert.
yeah.
Yes, Judge Colbert.
But that goes without
Absolutely,
saying.
Judge
That goes
Colbert.
without
And he
saying.
Judge
participates
Colbert.
in the event as well, too.
Yes.
So, I called him up last year and I said, hey, cousin, I need you. And he's like, what you need, cuz? What you need? He was happy to do it.
Yeah.
And it's just a great thing given to the community.
Yes,
you
it
know?
Yes.
is. It's
You
a
know?
needed thing.
Yes.
Something that we forgot all about. Or there's a new type of giving, like to tell the world what we're doing. When you
Yes.
give it, gotta be. It's not just for the people no more. You got to get something out of it. That's
Right,
not
right.
And I'll tell you, in addition to that, every child that's registered will come through and receive a book in a bag and a comfort toy and a journal.
Cool.
Because literacy is an issue.
Yes,
We
it
need
is.
our
It
kids
is.
reading.
Definitely.
It
You
is.
know,
It is.
and I'll tell you, Barnes and Noble's been great about it. Amazon's been great about it. A lot of people have been great about it. We just pulling together the community to make this happen.
And it's gonna happen.
gonna
Remind them once again, when is this event? Where and the time?
Tuesday, December 10th,
Mark your calendars.
6 to 8 p.m. Make sure you register. Go to drzenon.com to register. Click on the foundation piece.
Yes.
It's there.
We having a
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I'm telling you, you will be sad
Bring
you
those
missed
babies. Got to bring those babies. Get them registered first. So
Ages
thank
4
you
to 17.
much.
It's over already.
Yeah.
Oh man, we had such a good time.
Yeah,
I know, huh?
I know. I wasn't even.
Don't you hate when it
I know. I just hate
time
it.
flies when you're having fun,
I
y'all?
mean, really, it was like this was great.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Dr. Zena,
Yeah.
for joining us.
I should come back with my mom when she
You
comes.
should.
Yeah, you should.
Because
You
we
should.
do feed
We
off each other
we
quite
gotta
well.
have
Yes.
Yeah,
We need-
you know.
Miss Pat. Does your mom drink coffee?
No.
Tea?
Little
No,
bourbon,
no
no
water, no sugar. But we got to get y'all some vote cups.
Yeah.
We
We
so we
have
can make some
some.
little vote cups while we sitting down having our
have
little
some, We
conversation.
have some vote coffee
Yeah, we got
cups.
vote
We
coffee
do have
cups,
coffee.
yeah.
We have
Yeah,
vote
some
coffee cups.
some vote cups, and
But
we
you-
can sit
you-
down
you
like
all
the
come
vi-
to
like the
donate
view.
some if you want, you know.
We that's something we working on. Don't worry about
Like the view, like the view. Shoot, we
Yes.
can have like a little round table and just keep it going.
it. Keep it going. Keep it going. Well, y'all, thank you, and we will be back. And today we do have with us one of our absolute favorite colleagues who's in New Orleans, Louisiana, at our headquarters, Mr. Ronald Marshall, our policy analyst. Hey, Ronald.
What's up, Sway, Marcus, Matthew? How
Yeah,
y'all
man,
doing?
what's up,
Good
brother?
to be here.
Doing great, doing great. We are so grateful and glad that you have joined us today. We had some questions. We were just sitting around one day, just wondering, like, especially here we are coming to the end of 2024. And of course, we know how this year started. it started really, really crazy with the special crime session and then the regular session. And we saw a lot of our bills. We saw a lot of things that took years to get put into place, get rolled back. Um, and now we're just curious about the effects of these new laws. So um, that's
Yeah,
why we really wanted to be able to talk to you today.
yeah,
Yeah.
there are some early effects that I'm seeing, but the bigger effects is gonna be saw in the future, like 25, 26. But some of the early consequences of the rollback bills from this crime session that I'm hearing and seeing is that many guys are panicking with hopelessness. The administration has changed. The parole process has changed. There are new faces on the parole board, and they are not as liberal or concerned, have that same compassion or empathy that previous boards had when Governor Edwards was in office. So many guys are kind of like reeling from the effects, seeing colleagues and friends being denied on the board who should have made the board. That's a consequence of the new administration and those back channel conversations that the governor's probably having with the parole board to be tighter, to be tougher. So another consequence I'm hearing is that the Department of Correction has now double bunked the beds, and that's in preparation for the influx of new incarcerated people that will potentially in the system as a
Yes.
result of the new bills that's going into effect. And currently, the number that I'm hearing right now is that we're at 24,000. So if you double bunk the beds, you're bringing us close to 50,000
Yes.
people. 50,000 people. And I'm saying we might see that number, we might hit that number by 26, 50,000 people. Another consequence that I'm seeing is that we have more kids in the adult system here in Orleans Parish than I've seen before. For example, earlier this year when the law first took effect that lowered the age and expanded the crime criteria by which to charge a child as an adult, more kids, almost 50 kids are now in OJC here in Orleans Parish Prison. And that's not good. Some of these kids have only been arrested for possession of stolen property or stolen car. And that's the bad thing. At one time, the trigger proponent to prosecute a kid as an adult was the violent nature of the crime. But that criteria has expanded to also include non-violent crimes, and that's not good. Another consequence that I'm hearing is that there is this influx of smuggling drugs into the prison system to cope with that hopeless environment that they're now faced with. More guys are ODing now. Men who have never done drugs a day in their life prior to this administration are now turning to drugs to sedate themselves from the brutal reality that is now the hopeless Department of Corrections. Oh, yeah, that's just some of the early consequences that I'm hearing and I'm seeing. And get this, none of those laws, the laws that went into effect this year, particularly here in New Orleans, is not the reason that crime rates are down. The reason crime rates are down in New Orleans, that trajectory started long before the governor even took office. What I can say is Jeff Landis Troop Mueller is ensuring that crime stays down. That's for certain. And there have been a lot of bad arrests on part of Troop Nola. And what I mean by bad arrests, some of the crimes that people are being arrested for in New Orleans would not have been if it was just New Orleans police officers patrolling the streets. There are men and women being arrested for urinating on the sidewalk in Bourbon Street or parking their car are sleeping on the sidewalk or standing on the sidewalk loitering. They're being arrested now because of Troop NOLA. And Sheriff Susan Hudson has been complaining about that as well because she have absolutely no room to house people who are incarcerated for misdemeanor crimes. So that's the drawback from Troop NOLA. They don't have that gauge to determine which crimes to arrest and not arrest for. They're just arresting you for every little thing in the city of New Orleans.
Ronald, quick question for you because a lot of our viewers are not in New Orleans. What
Okay.
is Troop NOLA? Where did it come from? Tell us a little bit about that.
So Troop NOLA is the state troopers, Louisiana state troopers. And it's a package of Louisiana state troopers that Jeff Landry ordered to New Orleans in response for the uptick in crime that doesn't exist, that was fabricated, but also to prepare the city for the incoming NFL Super Bowl. That's what that's about. That's a money grab. It actually has nothing to do with catering to the people of New Orleans or ensuring that the people of New Orleans are safe. It's to cater to the people, the tourists who are coming to this city. That's what that's about. And that's the history of Louisiana. That's the history of New Orleans. We have a problem when it comes to catering to tourists rather than the people who've been here their entire life. We don't get that type of accommodations, we just don't get it. We here and we just have to deal with it. But anytime there's a large crowd or an attraction drawing a huge crowd of people to Louisiana or to New Orleans, the tourists get those catering benefits more so, and not the people who live here.
So, Ronald, so yeah, that all of that you just said was just, oh man, that's just heartbreaking, and I think that hopelessness is understandable, and especially in Lafayette, because that's where I'm familiar. We recognize it to be evident, and I think that might have something to do with the lack of participation right now in the voting process that the election that we dealing with. Like, people are pretty, they're pretty leery, and while canvassing, a lot of people is asking, like, why? Like, for what? Like look at what they did to us so far. But my question would be, I've noticed a real uptick in violent crimes by young teens, right here in Lafayette surrounding area. I mean a lot, brother. I mean, every day it's 2 or 3 of them, and it wasn't like that prior to this 18-year-old Carrie. So, what do you think that this 18-year-old Carrie could, have that had any known statistical effect of the intake, the uptake in crime among the youth? Like, you think that plays or any evidence that you have run across that could confirm that it had anything to do with the crime rate rising?
I'm not sure I'm understanding your question, Marcus.
Okay, so look,
Go ahead.
so the 18-year-old gun carry now, they could legally carry,
Okay.
right? So now it's like everybody's carrying, so everybody's using the gun that they're carrying, which is what a handgun is designed for, to commit bodily harm to another human being.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying?
Right. So 2 weeks in a row, we went in Orleans Parish prison to do some absentee ballot voter registration. And while in there, we was talking to some of the residents. And some of the young men had never been arrested prior to their introduction to that prison currently. And the reason for their arrest is because they were carrying a gun, but the arrest, the charges that the gun was legal. They had every right to carry the gun because the new law gives them that right to openly carry a concealed weapon. However, They was arrested because they was improperly carrying the gun. It wasn't in the
What?
holster. It wasn't in the holster. That gun needed to
Oh,
be in the
wow.
holster. And to your point, what the open carry law may have done, and I don't know if there's any validity to this claim because I'm not in the streets. I can't see all the young men who may or may not be carrying guns. But I know that the mindset of kids, if you tell them they can do something, they're going to do that thing. If you tell a kid, particularly in the streets, that he can carry a gun, guess what? He's going to openly carry a gun.
Right. Right.
And the idea of a person having a gun on their host, on their side at any given time, and anything can trigger that young man or that young woman to raise that gun and defend themselves, there's going to be an uptick in violent crimes. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
If you put guns on the holsters of 100 people who did not normally carry guns,
Right.
the first reaction would be an argument without the gun. But if you put the gun in the equation, the first reaction would be to up the gun and point the gun and possibly be triggered to squeeze the trigger. So
Right.
yeah, I would say that allowing our residents and our citizens to carry guns may have added to the increase in violent incidents around the city of Louisiana, around the state of Louisiana. Yeah.
Right. Right. Wow. Man, this
Thinking about that, I'm
Go
thinking
ahead.
about that, Ronald, right? Like it's pouring gasoline on conflicts, pouring gasoline on issues, right? Like in any other situation, we take safeguards for like not making things worse. And granted, right, I think there are a lot of legislators who, for some reason, right, because I knowing what I know and knowing the data and knowing the lived experience of other people, there are a lot of people who think that everybody carrying a gun will make things safer, but that doesn't happen anywhere. It doesn't happen anywhere.
And you know, Malcolm, to your point, man, Matthew, sorry. I was standing in line the other day getting some food from a restaurant. I had paid for the food, and two guys walked up. And I kind of stood back so they can get to the window to order their food. When they walked up, and they were just getting food. They wasn't there to harm anybody. They was just getting food. But when they walked to the window, I noticed in the back of both men were firearms. I left my food and got in my car and left. And I watched them. They just got food, but I'm just showing you. Anytime guns come in the picture, no, I didn't feel safe in that moment.
Yep.
And it was just there to get food. But the idea of them carrying the gun and I'm seeing the gun, I felt threatened. And I left the food I paid for and didn't even go back to get it.
Mm-hmm. And you know, Ronald, I'm an educator, right? Like I'm a former elementary school teacher, and I think about instances where we have mass shootings everywhere.
Right.
Unfortunately, too many are in schools, but I've heard story after story of people walking around with guns and people calling the police to report them, right? And the police saying, we can't do anything until they actually shoot somebody.
Right.
Yeah, when y'all said that, I thought about, Ronald, you got or you felt threatened in some type of way when you saw two guys who were armed with guns. I feel that way when I see, sorry, Matthew, but when I see a white man enter a building with a backpack,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because there are just, a lot of times that's when, some really crazy stuff pops off because they're able to carry these weapons in backpacks
Mm-hmm.
and go into churches or stores or schools concealing those weapons in backpacks. So it's a lot of things that can put us on guard as citizens. We all want to be safe. I think some people have a misconception to think that people who have felony records don't really care about being safe, but we do. You know, we care about ourselves being safe, our families, and our communities. So, you know, it's just crazy that they allowed these 18. To me, it was a setup because they did not put those stipulations in the front and say, if you are armed, it needs to be in a holster. If you are armed, you need to go through a training. You know, they just say, yeah, you can have that gun, go get that gun. But now, like you were saying, they're being arrested because they're not being properly concealed.
And
So to me,
Sway,
that's a setup.
and Sway, I'm gonna say don't apologize, right? Like the data shows most mass shooters look like me. Most of the people arrested for weapons charges look like you, Marcus, and Ronald.
Right, 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 right. So Ronald, so another question I have, I often hear people referencing to this. I don't know, and I'd like you to expound on this police immunity. Whether I know a law passed giving cops a certain kind of relief if they, I don't know, I can't really, I don't understand exactly how it pans out, but I get asked a lot about that and I can't answer it because I'm not familiar with it. Could you expound on how that actually works, that one bill that was passed?
So yeah, so like in Ronald Green's case, which all the officers have since pled guilty and received $1,000 fine, I believe, something to that effect. Now with the new law in effect, police officers have what is called this immunity. They're protected, and they're able to uh, not be held accountable for harming you, hurting you, or killing you, even if they're in the wrong. This law protects them now. And that's one of the things that Donald Trump is now campaigning, giving law enforcement officers qualified immunity, talking about across the board. If it happens on the job, they can't be sued, they cannot be arrested, they can't even be held accountable. It's a very, very bad law, and I believe that that law will empower those bad apple cops to do some harmful things to people in the community because they know they're now protected by the shield, by Louisiana's law. So yeah, it's a very bad law, Matthew. I mean Marcus, very bad law. Very
And
bad.
and entwined with the 18-year-old carry, that's a bad,
Yes,
that's a
it
bad
is.
suit.
Yes, it is, man. So like Sway said, I believe there was no rational basis for giving gun privileges to everybody, just to open carry. I believe that law bamboozled young black males into thinking they was getting away with something, but now they're being arrested for violating these technical restrictions as if they never was told to
Right,
carry a gun in the beginning. And so
right.
many young men are now in jail because the police officer said, yeah, the gun was legal, but he didn't have it in the holster.
A whole setup, whole setup.
Yeah, it's
Wow,
a
that's
whole setup.
crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Oh, unfortunately, we are running out of time.
Yeah,
As
I hate
always,
this,
the time
man. I
goes
hate
by
this.
so fast and too fast, and we always, man. But thank you.
Especially with Ronald, huh? Especially
Yes,
with Ronald, it goes too
we just got to get a show just with Ronald, just with Ronald, because
fast.
this
Yes.
information is so needed, and people in Lafayette need to know this. And that's why we brought you on, Ronald, so that you can enlighten the community. And you got to realize that we are streaming, so people all over the country are going to be able to see this show. So thank you, Ronald, for coming and joining us once again. We appreciate you and all the work that you were doing.
I thank you all for having me. Anytime y'all need me, just give me a call, yank my chain, let me know that y'all need me. Over here, come on, Ronald. So I'll show up. I'll appear out of nowhere. But y'all continue doing what y'all doing. Y'all making an impact in the community. People are listening. Never shut up. Ever, ever, ever shut up.
Ever, ever.
Your mouth is your weapon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, my brother. No surrender.
No
No
retreat.
retreat.
No retreat.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, brother.